there, I'm Chef Mike Harris, Lead Culinary Food Development Specialist.
And I'm Charles Purcell. I'm the Food Industry Senior Application Development Manager for North America.
Today, we're going to explore the world of oat-based dairy alternatives. We are very excited to share this webinar with you. We hope you find it informative and relevant. Here's our agenda for today's webinar. First, we're going to start with a safety share. Then we're going to talk about plant-based milk market trends. We'll then go ahead and discuss functional ingredients in oat-based beverage systems, as well as do a market review of existing products. We'll talk a little bit about enzymes for oat-based milk alternatives, and then we're going to have a little fun in the kitchen with oat milk. Here at Univar Solutions, we are serious about safety, so we always begin with a safety share. Our newest culinary center operates as if we are a fully functioning restaurant. This means our food safety programs and processes are in line with national sanitation requirements. This also means that when we prepare samples for customers to taste, we must wear hats and facial hair coverings when appropriate, use gloves when handling ready-to-eat foods, and accurately maintain and record safe food handling temperatures, making sure our food is safe for you.
Thanks, Chef Mike. Great safety share. Now let's talk briefly about trends in the plant-based dairy alternative space. Plant-based foods are fast-growing in popularity around the world. This is propelled by the rise of flexitarians. 1 in 5 people fit the definition of a flexitarian, whose diet centers on plant-based foods with the occasional inclusion of an animal-derived product. The plant-based milk alternative category is the largest of all of the plant-based foods. As you can see, sales are up 20% in 2020. It's grown 2 times the rate of cow's milk. 39% of U.S. households now buy plant-based milk. In addition, the plant-based milk space now is 15% of the overall milk segment. That's huge. You might note the rapid rise of oat milks in the past 2 years. One driver of growth in the plant-based segment is consumer awareness of the CO2 footprint reduction that plant-based products offer versus traditional full-fat dairy milk. And lastly, there is a growing awareness with consumers of sustainability and product ingredient knowledge. It seems everyone reads the ingredient statements and nutrition facts on the foods they buy these days. So how does one go about actually making an oat-based beverage product? Let's explore the process and the various functional ingredients that go into making oat-based milk products. So today, let's look at how an oat-based beverage is produced. And first I want to say, this is a very high-level explanation of how you go about producing an oat-based beverage. Not every plant is the same, not everybody's equipment is the same, time, temperature, they all can vary within a plant. So this is just a high-level explanation. It all starts with oats or oat flour, water, and enzymes. Enzymes play a critical role in the manufacture of oat-based beverages. They have the unique ability to quickly hydrolyze various components of oats. This allows the producer to efficiently create a consistent, high-quality oat-based finished product. So let's have a look at a typical production scenario. A typical manufacturing process of an oat-based product would look much like this. Heat-treated oat flour is mixed with water and heated. Enzymes are added to reduce viscosity by hydrolyzing the starch. The product is cooled somewhat, and enzymes are again added to convert the hydrolyzed starch into sugars. The product solids are then separated by decanting or by centrifuging. Once the separation step occurs, the beverage is ready to formulate according to your product's requirements. Additional ingredients are added, usually followed by homogenization, thermal processing, and packaging. This picture shows how the addition of enzymes helps to reduce the viscosity of the heated oat slurry and begins hydrolyzing the starch. The addition of enzymes is done in 2 main processing steps. The first is called liquefaction. The slurry is heated, the starch gels, viscosity builds, and the addition of an alpha amylase at this point will begin converting the amylose and amylopectin into dextrins and amylopectin fragments. This helps to reduce the viscosity and to break down the starch. The second step is called saccharification. It's done at a somewhat lower temperature, and the addition of a glucoamylase takes the dextrins and amylose fragments and breaks them down into glucose and glucose isomaltose. This increases the dextrose equivalence, gives better mouthfeel, produces natural sweetness, and reduces the need for added sugars. Here you can see how the use of enzymes can increase or decrease the product sweetness by dosing the right enzymes at the right time. All enzymes must be inactivated at some point or they will continue to function forever. Inactivation is typically done by thermal inactivation. Each enzyme has its own inactivation temperature. Finally, one final note about the role of enzymes is that they can help to increase the solubility of proteins, and in the case of oats, beta-glucans, which can increase yields. So now let's jump into our review of some of the oat-based dairy alternatives on the market today. The oat-based milk alternatives on the market today run the range from unsweetened, plain oat milk all the way up to highly sweetened, highly flavored coffee creamers. Mike went to the store, bought 5 different brands of unsweetened plain oat milk, and we're going to have a look at those today. We'll talk a little bit about some of the attributes that we feel are in each of them, and then what they're coming from, and see where we go.
Awesome. So we're going to start out over here.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
So the first one we're looking at is Original Oatly Oat Milk. I notice on the glass, not on the glass, sorry, on the carton it says shake well. They want you to shake it for some reason, because they want it to be uniform.
Right. Sometimes we get some settling in some of these, and sometimes the ingredients might, separate within the beverage, and you just want to make sure that it's nice and even and mixed thoroughly.
I noticed that there's calcium carbonate in this product, which is an insoluble form of calcium, and I'm sure that has something to do with why they want you to shake it up.
Very smart. Now, one thing I noticed when tasting is as far as the creaminess and fattiness, I'd say it's a little lower. It's a little more what I would consider like a skim or 1% milk kind of texture in my mouth, which is perfectly fine. That was another thing that we wanted to talk about, is we are not evaluating these one's better than the other. We're just simply seeing what's out in the marketplace. So I do notice that it's a little, I wouldn't say watery, but not as, let's say, doesn't have as much of that fattiness as, some of the other ones I've tasted before.
Totally agree. And I picked up a little bit of a nutty flavor, very so slightly. And that can come from the oats, and sometimes in tasting these, I've noticed that exists in all of them to some degree. A lot of that has to do with the processing parameters that they've been put through.
And assuming, since it's all oat milk, that is why we're going to taste a little bit of oat and some of those notes in there. So it's still very tasty, very easy to drink, and I like it quite a bit. So cool. Next one over here.
Califia Farms. This touts 0 sugar. Now, what I did notice is that they use monk fruit juice in the product. So monk fruit juice is a naturally occurring kind of a high-intensity sweetener, often paired with stevia. So it's got some sweetness, but very, very, very mild.
I would say, yes, it is definitely, again, I'm not comparing better or worse, but it is just a little less sweet than the previous one we tasted there. It's interesting, it does look like it would be creamier and fattier. However, the mouthfeel seems just like on point with what I tried there before, where it's not as, let's say, creamy like a whole milk or a half and half or any of those, but it actually has a little more creaminess appearance compared to the previous sample there.
They tout velvety texture and creaminess.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly hits on that. It also has a little more of that white, classical, let's say, dairy milk appearance, where I think that previous sample had a little off color, which again, naturally inherent in the ingredient. That's how oats go. So
I also noticed that this did not say shake well. So interesting. There'd probably be some naturally occurring settling in this product too.
I usually shake everything anyway, just because.
I might as well.
Yeah, might as well. All right, next one we've got up here.
Forager organic oat milk. This one does say shake well.
Interesting. That one, kind of sweetness on line with the previous sample, a little less sweet. Yep, a little less sweet than the first. Looks a little less fatty rich, but this one does cling to the tongue a little bit more. I get a little more richness out of it compared to the other ones, which is nice. It is what it is.
And I should point out that none of these 5 are all formulated identically. They're all slightly different, which is kind of cool.
I'm assuming that an oat milk user, so I do drink oat milk, not heavily, might have personal preference on why it tastes and functions the way it does. So once again, neither of these are right or wrong, just is what it is.
It's however they wanted to formulate it.
They wanted to formulate it. That's awesome. I'm going to go with this one here.
Check out Planet Oat.
Interesting. So that one so far has been the least sweet, but I definitely get the most creaminess out of this one.
By far, it's the most viscous, has the most mouthfeel or body. No doubt about it. I noticed on their ingredient statement, they list a couple of products, gellan gum and guar gum. They're both hydrocolloids, and they both can lend to body, and the gellan gum also acts as a suspending agent for any insolubles such as calcium carbonate.
Interesting. Yeah, it stays on my palate a little longer than the rest of them. So I think
the thickest.
Those function as you would assume they would in a product like this.
Again, not formulated like any of the other ones.
Excellent. And the last one we have here.
This is Whole Foods 365 Original Oat Milk Beverage. It was interesting.
That one has very creamy, has some sweetness, but there seems to be a little bit, I get some other flavor in there, not off flavors, but just kind of a more well-rounded flavor, I guess I could describe it as.
This one also says shake well before opening, so they want you to shake it up. It does have gellan gum in it, which is capable of suspending any insoluble calcium salts or whatever, but at the same time, it's got quite a bit of body, which you can actually get, if you recall what I said earlier, by the amount of enzymes in the process you put your oat flour through.
Interesting, very interesting. It's interesting that out of these 5, we do have a wide variety of products out there. Then layer on the fact that there are plenty out there with flavor, increased sweetness, if they're using it for, let's say, a non-dairy creamer or whatever it might be, that there are a lot of options out there depending on what a consumer's personal preference is. So I could see why this is an exciting area in the marketplace. There's a lot of variability, a lot of options, especially if you're looking to incorporate oat milk into your diet.
So 5 basic oat milks, 5 very different products. Now let's go back to those additional ingredients again. If you'll recall, I said that you can use different products to make different categories of food products within this category. So you've got the highly sweetened, highly flavored coffee creamers all the way down to your plain basic oat milks. So let's talk sweeteners for just a minute. Sweeteners run the range from high intensity artificial sweeteners, high intensity natural sweeteners, nutritive sweeteners, sugar, high fructose corn syrup. Everybody thinks that's really a bad thing. All the way up to the asulfames, sucralose, all of those of the world. So Univar Solutions carries all of them. Let's talk about fortification. Are you fortifying your product with minerals? Are you fortifying your product with vitamins? We have a full range of all of the calcium, potassium, magnesium, zinc, every kind of fortification mineral you can think of in all varieties of salts. We also have a limited amount of vitamins available to fortify your product with. Texture and flavor. They play a key role. Texture and flavor. Your texture can modify the flavor, and your flavor can modify the texture. Textures can be achieved by various hydrocolloids. Sometimes you might have a very thin product that you want to thicken up, and you want it to have a specific mouthfeel, a body texture to it. We have a full range of all the hydrocolloids that you can add to do that. From a flavor standpoint, we have cocoa powder, we have salt, of course, plays a key role in flavor. We have vanilla and vanillin for vanilla type flavors. So check with us on that. Glad to help you out however you can. And then you're going to need some emulsification and protein protection. If you happen to be adding additional protein to your beverage, you want to make sure that you don't thermally deactivate it or denature it. So there are products that can actually keep the protein from denaturing. We have those. And then emulsifiers. Emulsifiers are what keep the liquid and the oil phases together. So we have a full line of both natural and man-made emulsifiers out there. So the lecithins of the world and also the monodiglycerides, you name it, we have it. So that kind of runs the gamut of all the products that we can go into one of these wonderful products here. And I think we're going to let Chef Mike have a surprise for us now.
Yeah, finally we're going to go have some fun in the kitchen. We're going to make a plant-based milk recipe of our own. I like winging it, so we're gonna blend some probably peanut butter cups, chocolate, peanuts, oat milk, and we're gonna make something tasty. So
Great.
awesome. All right, we are gonna make a chocolate peanut butter oat milk smoothie or milkshake. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna start off with your preferred oat milk. We're gonna add it to a blender, like so. The best part about this recipe is you could kind of just wing it. You could put in whatever you so desire. So then I'm gonna add a whole bunch of peanut butter as well, like so. More peanut butter you add, the more viscosity it's going to build in your beverage, as well as taste more like peanut butter, as you would expect. Next thing I'm going to do is add some peanut butter cups. Now, I did confirm that these have no animal product in them whatsoever. So if you are trying to make vegetarian or vegan, you're going to want to check that out. And then I'm also going to add a little extra chocolate syrup. Like so. And all you have to do is blend it till it's done. Just like that. Then we're gonna make some noise. So I do want to rim my glass with some crushed peanuts. So I'm gonna take some peanuts and put them in this bag here. Might need a little bit more. And then take your trusty rolling pin and let out your daily frustrations on the peanuts. One thing you're also going to want to do is make sure your Ziploc bag is just a little bit open to let that air out. I feel much better now. You can see we've got a bunch of crumbly peanuts here. I'm gonna put that in a kind of a shallow dish, shallow container. Okay, so we've got those peanuts there. We're gonna add a bunch of chocolate syrup to this container here. And now our goal. You want a nice and thin layer, so you don't get too much on your cup, or else it'll be just dripping with chocolate, which isn't necessarily a horrible idea, but that's all right. Glass is rimmed with chocolate. Glass is now rimmed with peanuts. And then finally, all you have to do is take your delicious beverage. Try to pour it in without disturbing the rim. Give yourself a nice straw. And there you have it. You have yourself a chocolate peanut butter oat milk smoothie or milkshake. You can add ice. You can use whatever flavored oat milk you desire. Nice and cold, however you want to do it. All right, Charles, here is our finished oat milk chocolate peanut butter milkshake. Let us know what you think.
I can't wait.
Now, this is not low calorie, so if you're on a diet, I very much apologize.
I'm gonna drink this whole thing.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. That's great. Thank you so much for joining us today at Univar Solutions' new Solution Center. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we look forward to cooking for you again.